Hey everyone, how's it going? I appreciate the turnout. We only had 3 people sign up, and I don't know if any of you had signed up, so 3 people that signed. No, Lucas did. Remember Lucas' name on there. So this is Janet LaFawn from the Carthage University Missouri Extension Office, and she's going to visit with you about identity theft and how to avoid it, hopefully, and how to deal with it if it happens to you. We have a new director in the program, Debbie Fort, if you know her. She also, I think, might step in and share some. She has been plagued, is that a good word? Hit by the identity theft bug. So she might share a few things with you too as well. So turn it over to Janet.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be with you all today. She said I do work for, and you can see up there, I work for University of Missouri Extension. Now my first question is, how many of you knew that the University of Missouri had an office right here in Jasper County? Hey, all right, I see a few hands going up. For those of you who don't, we are an outreach from University of Missouri, and people wonder, well, why University of Missouri when Missouri Southern's right here? Well, it's part of the mission of what we call the land-grant institutions. And each state, by federal acts of Congress, there was, back in the 1800s, were institutions in each state designated to do outreach, to do teaching on the campuses, and to do research on the campuses. So that's why the University of Missouri is a land-grant institution in Missouri. And also Lincoln University in Jefferson City by another act of Congress. So give me just a little bit of history there so that you kind of understand why we are with the University of Missouri. Sometimes when I say that, people say, my gosh, you drove all the way from Columbia? No, my office is right here in Jasper County. We have an office in just about every county across the state of Missouri. It's a cooperative effort between the federal government, the state governments, and the local county governments to bring that knowledge, that education into local communities. So we have an office in just about every county across the entire United States. Here in Missouri, we operate on what we call a specialist system, where we have people who are trained at master's degree level or higher that are headquartered in county offices, and then we work multi-counties. So you'll see here, I'm a family financial education specialist, so I deal in money-related issues, money management, time management, credit, insurance, consumer protection issues, saving and investing, a little bit on estate planning. Those are the types of things that I typically do. And so the identity theft falls into that consumer protection part of that. If people have heard of us at all, they think of us as being tied to farmers and agriculture. And we do have specialists who deal in livestock, dairy, agronomy, natural resource engineering, agribusiness, and horticulture. And horticulture isn't just for farm, and there are some of those others aren't maybe totally, but especially the horticulture. We get a lot of lawn and garden questions in our offices. So people want to know, my tomato plant is dying, what's wrong, or what kind of fertilizer do I need, or here's a bug that's got in my house, I want to know what it is and how to get rid of it. So we get those kind of questions every day. We have a Master Gardener program where we train people in horticulture, and that's part of the work that actually, it's another one of the hats that I wear. I help co-coordinate that program here in Jasper County. And after this class, I go back over to Carthage. We have one of those training classes this afternoon. 4-H, how many of you have heard of the 4-H program? I see several hands going up. That's our youth outreach, working with youth to develop some life skills that will help them as they become adults. In the family area, besides myself, we have nutrition specialists, we have human development specialists, we have environmental design, housing-related specialists, and then we also have business specialists and specialists in like community development. So we cover a wide area. The reason I'm telling you about this, number one, it could be a career opportunity for some of you, of some of those areas of interest. We are educators. We answer day-to-day problems. We go out and do workshops, seminars like this as well as we are a resource for you in the communities, because most of our services are free or low cost. Our offices are usually located in the county seat of the county, so that's why even though Joplin's bigger, my office is in Carthage because Carthage is the county seat. Not always, but a lot of times we're in the county courthouse even, and my office does happen to be in the basement of the Jasper County Courthouse over in Carthage. So if you have a question that you can't find an answer to, we may be able to help you find an answer. The information we provide, we cannot promote particular products, so it's unbiased, it's research-based. So as you know, you can find about anything out on the internet, but you may be wondering, what's it going to cost me? What are they trying to sell me? Is this legitimate information? The information we provide is legitimate, fact-based information. So just a little commercial, but if at any time we can be of help, at the end I'll have a slide that'll have my contact information as well as I did bring a few of my business cards if you have any additional questions. But the topic today is we are going to talk a little bit about protecting your identity, what you need to know, and what you need to do. And this is a presentation that was actually put together by the Federal Trade Commission that I've kind of done some adaptations to. So I do want to give them credit, and the handouts that I give you, and I'll hand one over here to you as well, did come from the Federal Trade Commission. These booklets were a wonderful, I think, resource for people. So before I begin here, raise your hand if you have a Social Security number. Raise your hand if you have a credit card. See if you go up. Raise your hand if you have a wallet or a purse. Let's see those hands. Raise your hand if you're breathing. Reason I did this, any of those areas can be reasons why you might be a victim of identity theft. And I said breathing, but as I was coming in here today, I got to thinking, you know, sometimes people who are dead have been victimized by identity theft. So it's not just those who are alive. Maybe they're not going to complain much about it, but these things can happen. So what is identity theft? It's when someone steals your personal information and uses it without your permission. It can damage your finances, your credit history, your reputation. It can take a long time. I've seen figures, it can take like maybe up to 2 years to try to correct this. And I hate to tell you this, she was just sharing with me, if you don't mind me saying, earlier that she has become a victim of identity theft. And I may let you talk a little bit about that later if you want to, if you don't mind sharing a little bit. So it can take a lot of time. It can take a lot of energy, it can take some money. So that's why, as much as we can do on the front end to protect ourselves, we can't keep it from happening. But again, even we can do everything right, and there's people out there that want to take advantage of us. Now, you may not think this is that big a deal, but according to the Bureau of Justice, I've got this as a figure from 2014, 17.6 million U.S. residents experienced at least one incidence of identity theft in 2014. I found there was a similar to findings they had in 2012 where I found financial losses there from identity theft, from just personal debt, identity theft. Now there could be business as well, but personal, $24.7 billion. So this is big business. You know, it's something, as I just was saying, it's something that we could have affected with every day. And to get you thinking about that, I've got just a little activity that I'd like to do. First of all, I'd like for you to draw out. I may ask, if you don't mind maybe slipping back with, it's either the table here or back there. Five tables. Okay. Just draw one of these little slips of paper. And if you want to slip in with one of the tables.
We can slip in the back here. Slip in with that one.
Who wants to draw one? Draw one. Draw one. Now, does everyone have one? Okay. Then I'm going to pass a few. I may not get enough on each table. If I didn't, let me know. Really don't. Depends, it's more kind of a group, so not everybody has to have one. I call this what's in your. You know, you've heard that what's in your wallet. Well, that's one thing. But the little slip of paper that I gave you, it gave you an item or something. So what's in your, whatever on your piece of paper, and then I'd like for you we're not going to spend but about maybe 5 minutes on this, but I'd like for you to think about, you know, what is in your, whatever your item is, that is a way that you could become a victim to identity theft, and then how can you protect yourself? So whatever the item is, and you each have a different item, each table. So work as a group, you know, talk about it. You know, what are some of the things ways that you could be a victim? And then what can you do to protect yourself?
I keep anything I need. Well, if it's like a credit card statement that I didn't know anything on, I can burn it. If I didn't know anything on it, it doesn't matter to me. anyone have numbers or passwords that I need to know in case their phone is
Credit card statements.
No, because usually they come already, where you can go online with the code, and it already has most of your information on it. All you gotta do is put that code in and automatically it pops up. That's how they get, yeah, well, if you have really good credit, you get the free credit first.
Mine's like 760.
Put in the code. Yeah.
Mine's like 760.
See, I remember when they used to actually send the card before you can even accept it. You get the card and then you can accept it, and then you already have the card. They used to send the card out.
Okay, got my new AAA or AARP card available already, student AARP card.
Right.
See, I got my new debit card, made sure it worked, and then I burned it.
Yeah, I did too. I cut it up and then burned it.
I like burning because shredding, that can be pieced back together. But if it burns, have fun with ashes.
By stamps.
Burning is always the way.
Um,
If you see someone stealing your identity, burn them.
For us, we just put like 50 cents in the mailbox and mailman gets us a stamp.
They look like they'll do that or not.
My dad's always on.
Right.
Every year, yeah, annual credit report you have, you get every year, and you can do one year, and then,
I would try
like, mid-year, you can do another one, this is how I did it, okay, there's actually something here about
Yeah,
that.
the 3 scores.
Okay, so like, you sign up, and then you do Equifax, say in January. And then say you want to check again in April, well, then you can do TransUnion, then maybe
Unless they don't have
April.
photos or come with their friends at all.
And then later on, you could do, what was the other one?
Experience.
Experience. I'm like, it starts with something like Experience. So maybe do it later in September. Therefore, you checked it 3 times, but all of them are free. It's free per credit reporting agency. That's how I do it. And that way I can keep track and see where it is throughout the year, and it's still free. And then come January, you can turn around and do Equifax again.
Okay, we can come back together. I'm hearing some good discussions around the room. And basically, you guys hopefully will answer most of the things that I'm going to be discussing today, but we'll kind of go back over them afterwards. But I thought this would be a good way to kind of get you thinking about yourselves. So first of all, someone had, what's in your mailbox? Which group had, you guys had the mailbox. So what did you find? What are some ways you could be a victim with your mailbox?
Our bills or bank statements, checks that we get through the mail, credit card statements, anything that has your information on about how much you get in monthly or yearly.
Okay. So a lot of information coming in. So what are some things you can do to protect yourself?
We could go have our mail through a PO box or post office, or we could go send our bills and pay them online instead of getting them through the mail.
Okay.
Keep it a secret.
So may not be a victim on mailbox, but could you be a victim online?
Yeah.
We'll talk
We set
about that.
ourselves up for that one.
Sorry, I had to hit it.
God.
But see, that's what, that's what identity thieves, they're looking for any way that they can weasel in. Okay, anything else you all have to
You
share?
set me up for failure.
I believe it.
Okay, what's in your home? Someone had home. Okay, what are some things in your home that,
Well, we have anything personal, that's where we keep our files, our mail when we have it, or the ways that we felt we could become a victim, is easily keeping the doors unlocked, inviting random people in our house we're not for sure we know about, whether they're neighbors or babysitters. We also have a computer. We thought we could protect ourselves by properly getting rid of our information. Some of us actually burn our mail with their lock the doors, not storing the most important stuff on our computers, don't let the unknown people into your house. Maybe, we didn't know if there's even identity theft insurance anywhere.
I'm not aware of any insurance. There are some of these services that you can kind of will help monitoring type things in terms of credit and things. Might be a possibility. Okay, thank you. What's in your computer then? Someone had computer. You all had the computer.
Yep. Google Plus, PayPal, I've been hacked. Facebook, your online banking, all of your personal information that you place on anything and save, which you shouldn't do, that I do. Your social security card, all of your family's information can be found online. Your debit cards, your pictures, to be able to, I mean, they get your pictures, they can make your ID. Let's see, what else?
Credit card.
Oh,
You said
credit
already.
cards, no.
You're good.
And that, yeah,
Okay.
pretty much anything.
Are you protecting yourself then? Yes, Dan?
If you log into like your online banking, you need to log out and close your browser window before you go on to anything else. You need to open a new window. And don't store your passwords on your computer.
Enable firewall.
Don't have that sticky note up there that has it.
Well, that too, but don't have it saved in your computer either anywhere, which I'm bad about. And then what-
Enable firewalls,
Yeah, you
spyware,
use your
adware,
passwords on the
malware,
computer.
and antivirus.
You go to options, go to
Unplug
security, go
computer,
to save password.
cut yourself
click
off
on
from
it, you
society.
get every password if someone has saved you on the receiver.
Sounds pretty good to me.
Shut your
Screw
computer
them.
down.
I have to
They
do
use
it for
that
my parents all the
something
time.
for
I have to do it for
Dig
my
a
parents
hole
all the
and
time
pull it
because
in
they
a-
always
oh,
put it-
You just tried it really bad and nobody can.
There you go.
In the internet
Okay,
bar,
thank
and
you.
options, and then settings, and then security.
Then our last
And
group,
there's
what's
safe
in your
passwords.
trash? That
Uh,
must be you guys back there.
All the stuff you get out of your mailbox, your pre-approved credit offers, bank statements, credit
Yeah.
card statements, even your health insurance statements. And you may get your new health insurance cards in the mail, and they might get them. Then, yeah, so a lot of stuff.
And how can you protect yourself?
Shredding, cutting, burning, checking your credit report often.
And we'll talk about that, so.
Yeah.
Good, you guys covered a lot of good things. The only other topic I had was what's in your purse or wallet. I mentioned that earlier. So what kinds of things do you carry around every day with you?
Of course, I even have my social security card in my wallet.
I was actually your bank information in the wallet.
ID, credit
Debit
card,
cards.
bank,
Driver's
Because now they
license.
make you
Google Wallet card.
prove so much every time you go
So
somewhere.
what do you
it's
do to
like,
protect yourself?
Don't lose your wallet for one thing.
Conceal
like I
and
do
carry.
often. Well, see,
You're
my,
not
for
talking
yourself.
about the wallet, are you?
see, my
I'm
sister
talking about
left hers
everything.
in her car overnight, and
I'm not
then
concealing
they,
and carrying
of
right
course,
now.
they broke the window and got her card and
Getting lost.
ruined everything for her. I don't leave mine in my car ever, because I don't have anything, but what I do have, I don't want them to get.
Yeah. Well, and we get a little careless, we get busy. Like, I was just in Walmart, one of the Walmarts just, I guess it was Sunday evening, I forget which evening I went. And I was at the checkout, and I looked up and there's this lady was there in front of me, and all of a sudden she's gone. The cart is there, right by the door, her purse is there, wide open, and she'd run off to find her a candy bar or something. And I'm thinking, how easy would it have been for someone to walk right by and went right out the door? Because I was near one of the checkers that's right close to the door. So, you know, she just got focused on wanting something else, and we all do that. So we've got to stay more focused on really what's important.
I always, when my wife and I used to go shopping some together, she would be that distracted person leaving her
Oh.
purse there. So I would take the little child restraint strap and strap it around her carry handles
Yeah.
or whatever.
So there's the purse, but like, but that one was even hanging wide
Yeah,
open. So I
she
mean,
never
even
left it
if, they
open.
might not have got the purse, but how easy would it have been to pick up that wallet? Or our cell phone? That's something that's sitting right on top.
And don't expect that Walmart's gonna go check their tapes, because they don't care.
Not gonna happen, huh?
No, I left the cart was right next to me, and I was turned around looking at jeans, and my wallet was sitting in there, and I turned around, and I took a carton, took off, wasn't my cart. Someone came and traded carts out. I was like freaking out, and so I'm running around the store looking for it. Well, I guess they must have got scared or something. They just ditched it over in another section.
But
And it
your,
was
but your
also
wallet
there.
was there. Oh,
Yeah,
thank
I don't know
goodness.
how that happened, but I was like,
You were lucky, but
yeah.
thank goodness.
But
it
Mama
was there.
didn't really care too much.
Hmm.
They were just like, well, you're gonna
We
have
were
to go
just
call
teaching you a
your,
lesson.
yeah, you're gonna have to go
Good
talk
teacher.
to your bank and all that. I was like, gee, thanks.
We have to look out for ourselves, don't we?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go in terms of some warning signs, and a lot of the things I'm gonna kind of be covering in the next few minutes will be some of the things you all have just touched on, but I think it's important that we kind of go back and review. You know, how do you know if your identity was stolen? Well, are there mistakes on your accounts that you're seeing? Or explanation of medical benefits, and I was gonna, was it you, I forget which one mentioned about your medical benefits, you know, that's something we don't even think about. But now, there's more and more even stealing your medical identity these days, so you've got to look out for that as well.
No, what do you mean, like, on your credit report, or on your credit, or your medical bills?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else using your, okay.
Yeah, like someone else has got, you know, is stealing your identity and is going to the doctor or getting
Okay.
prescriptions or whatever on your health insurance.
Okay.
Regular bills go missing. You know, something that like say your phone bill that, you know, you always get, or a credit card bill that you know when it's due and it doesn't come. Part of that could be identity theft. Part of it though, it's good to check those things out, say back if it's a credit card, because say if you've got a balance out there, see, it can start causing you, or it could damage your credit report. So it's important that you kind of keep aware of when those things come due. Calls from debt collectors for debts that aren't yours. It's not fun to get calls from debt collectors, even if they are your debts, let alone somebody else's, so that can be a red flag. Notice from the IRS, and would you want
That's
to
what I
share?
got. About 2 weeks ago, I got a letter and email from the IRS saying that a tax return had been filed using my social security number and name, and they wanted me to confirm if I had filed that or not. And so, of course, I went online and confirmed, and I got lucky in that they hadn't paid it out yet. But I've spent about 6 hours so far trying to clean up this mess, and I'm not done.
And that's just with the IRS.
And the
There
IRS
could
will
be-
never call you, they always send something in the mail, which is good, but then it's delayed too. And one of my results is that now I cannot file my income tax electronically. I have to put it in the mail and attach this affidavit that I had to file with the police report to it and mail it in, which means I don't get my money back as quickly.
Mhm. So it's slowing things down, but what they're doing then, they're trying to go after the tax refunds. And
I have a
it's been
friend who
happening more
actually-
and more.
Their tax return did get paid, and the person that filed it falsely lied, and now the IRS is trying to make my friend pay $4,000 on a tax refund that he never even got. So he's been dealing with it for 2 years. So
Yeah.
I actually got lucky.
I heard that if they actually get paid out, but it takes forever.
It can take a long time, so that's where you've got to, as much as you can do on the front end, but something like that, we don't know really until, say, we go file our tax returns, that something has happened.
They could steal my identity for my tax returns because I owe money, so
You'll let them have
I'll
it.
let them have it so they can pay my.
Yeah, but what they're doing is they're using false information and then they're getting a return
Yeah.
and then you're actually owing, so then you owe even more.
Yeah, good
That's
point.
what they're doing.
I
They're
was
not
joking.
even
It's worse,
yeah.
yeah, I love it, that'd be.
It would be nice if it worked out.
And I can get a copy of the return, because I want to know what it looks like. What did they report as income? I think they caught it because it's just in my name, and my husband and I always have filed jointly for 38 years, and so maybe that's what made him tag it. It was also not my legal name. I can get a copy, but it will take 3 to 6 months to get here.
Did they ever discuss like how maybe they got your?
I can't get a human being to talk to at the IRS.
That's what I.
I've tried repeatedly, and I can never get through to a human, so.
I do have, and you may already have it, but in the slides that there's an 800 number that I think dealing with that.
Yes,
So
I
maybe
did call
it's
that
probably the
specifically.
same,
And
probably the
it'd say,
same.
press 2 if you wish to speak to a customer representative, press 2, and then it would say, press 2 if you wish to speak to a customer representative, and I'd press 2, and it would say, press 2 if you wish to speak to, so finally I hung up.
It's frustrating, yes. Calls or mail about accounts in your minor child's name. Some of you may not have young children, but you may have minor siblings. And unfortunately, we see them sometimes being victimized. And it's not always strangers,
His parents.
unfortunately. Sometimes it's parents that are lovely parents that go and run their child's credit record and good name and all before they even are old enough to even write a check or do whatever, you know. So we never know what's happening.
You might say this later, but that is one of the #1 targets is minor children, because they are not, usually they're not gonna apply for credit until they're of age, 18, 20 years old. So they might go 10, 12, 14 years before anybody ever discovers it.
Just caught, yeah.
And
And
the
they're not,
thing
you don't
is-
think about checking on, say, credit reports on minors and that sort of thing, yeah,
My mother-in-law passed away in November and someone got her identity.
after her death. So I said,
After
sometimes it's
her
on the
death,
front
they
end,
used-
sometimes
And
it's
she
on
had
the.
good credit when she was living, and they used her social security number to open accounts.
That's sad.
And we'll never know how they got her information.
And you never know what they're hacking into. You know, there's, even like, say, here on a university campus, there are those hackers out there, you know. I don't know if you all have been victimized here. We, on the University of Missouri a few years ago, there was a data breach in our system, and they told us they weren't sure if we'd been, you know, our data had been compromised, but they told us we better be on the lookout, and I'll explain a little bit more about that later. So it can happen in lots of different ways. Identity thieves, let's see, what else? They'll steal your information from trash. You know, the common ways we think about, you know, in the past, you know, the dumpster diving or stealing your purse or wallet, you know, those things happen. But they're getting a lot, they'll still do, there's still a lot happens that way, but then they're getting more sophisticated, some of the things too. They'll trick you into revealing information. These phone calls, you know, that they'll sound real legitimate. Like you said, that I'm from the IRS, you know, I've been getting some lately, you know, that was exactly like that. This guy couldn't hardly speak English and is saying, I'm from the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service, and if you don't call me back, you know, you're going to suffer these big fines and thrown into jail and all that stuff. Well, you know, they don't typically call you like that. Like I said, they're going to mail things. Or the emails that you get, you know, that something's wrong with your bank account, that are phishing, and they want you to click on links in it. Be very cautious about those type of things as well. Taking your wallet or purse. Pretending to offer a job, loan, or apartment to get your information. So there's just lots of different things that they're doing. One of the best ways to reduce your risk is to check in your credit reports. And that's what some of you have alluded to, but some of you who've never done that before, I would encourage you to think about it. As of about 10 years ago, you now have the right once a year to get a free copy of your credit report from each of the 3 National Credit Consumer Reporting Agencies. Equifax, Experian, TransUnion are the major ones that are out there gathering information. And what they're doing from, like, say, when you fill out a credit card application, or you fill out a loan application, or anything else like that, or if you have some kind of court judgments, the information in those files, they'll have information about your name, your social security number, your birthday, your place of residence where you're living today, as well as, you know, past residences, names you talked about, like your married name versus another name. They'll have that kind of information in there. So that's identification information. Then they'll have information about your credit use, where, like, you have credit cards, how long you've had them open, whether you closed those accounts. Then they'll have how you've used them, whether you've made your payments like clockwork, whether you've been late on payments. So that kind of information is in there. And before I forget, I'm going to go ahead and say too, when I'm talking about these credit reports, when they're sent out, the information that's reported out is for what's happened during the last 7 years. So that's what, like, say you fill out a MasterCard application, MasterCard will check your credit file, and they'll see the last 7 years of information, except for bankruptcies, and bankruptcies are reported out for 10 years. So that's the kind of information that a lender, a credit card company will see on you. So we have the identifying information, we have the credit information. There'll be information then about public information, like bankruptcies, court judgments, that type of information, garnishments, whatever. That type of information will be in your credit file. And then information about inquiries. And these are the kind of like a hard inquiry, like credit inquiries. So, like, say if I fill out an application for a credit card, that will show up in my file as a credit inquiry. So then if I apply for a different credit card or a bank loan and they pull the report, they're going to see that I've applied for that. They may not know for sure unless I've got it and I'm using it. They may not know whether or not I've got that card, but they'll see that inquiry. Now that type of information can hurt your credit score. And I'm not here to talk much about scores today unless you have specific questions. If we have time at the end, I'd be glad to talk a little bit about that as well. So you want to be careful about the number of those. An exception to that, though, is, say, for example, when people are shopping for a car, what do we tend to do? We'll go to more than one dealership, won't we? And a lot of times those dealerships will ask you if you want to be pre-approved to see if you can qualify for our financing. And you say, sure, you give them that permission. That becomes a credit inquiry. Well, if you go to, say, 6 different dealerships, that in the past was seen as 6 different inquiries. Now they look at that as, it's done within, like, say, a month's time period as one inquiry. So it's a lesser hit on your credit score. And the information in your credit report is what's used to calculate the credit scores. Now, not every business reports out to all 3 of these. So that's why, like say a lender, when you go for like a house loan or car loan or something, they pull what's called a tri-merge report. They're going to get all of that information from all 3 to see where the similarities, differences are. And so that's from your standpoint, back to identity theft, that's why it's good to check all 3 of those so that you can see if there's anything going on. Each individual has their own reports, like a husband and wife would need to get his and hers separately. If you have been a victim or potential victim, suspected victim of identity theft, you can get an additional free one besides what and I'll come back to this free credit report, the annualcreditreport.com website here in a minute. You can get an additional one. If you have been like turned down for a job, something like that, you can get, or denied credit, you can get free copies directly from Experian, TransUnion, or Equifax. To get these free ones, you have to go through the website. And this is tied in also with the Federal Trade Commission. Now, if you'll grab your booklets and you turn back to the back section, you'll find G1, a page that looks like this. There are 3 ways, so this is where this information is. There are 3 ways you can get your free credit reports. You can do it online through the annualcreditreport.com website. If you use the website, make absolutely sure that you type it in correctly, because if you type it in incorrectly, like transposed letters, I understand there's some of these phishing things out there that may try to get your information. So make sure you type it in correctly. If you do, you get it that way, you get it instantly. If you go through the 800 number, or this is a form, you can do it via mail, then it takes about 15 days or so to get your reports back. You can request all 3 at the same time, or you can stagger them. And what I recommend is that you stagger them. That way you're checking them more frequently. So like say today, you fill this out or you call in, and you'll see there's little circles down there at the bottom where you can circle which one you want. So like say today, I send off the one for Experian. I wait 4 months, I send off the one to Equifax. I wait 4 months, I send off the one to TransUnion. Wait 4 months, start the cycle again. That way I'm catching it more frequently. Now something I've done personally, I may be a false sense of security. My husband and I have some joint accounts, we don't have all joint accounts. So I even stagger the requests for hours. So basically I'm checking one or the other every couple of months. So that way I'm thinking if there is something major going on, maybe I'll catch it quicker that way. What I personally also do is I use the paper forms versus going online or the phone number, just because it's easier for me to remember. The first of the year, I'll make like 6 copies of this. I'll fill out 3 for him. I'll fill out 3 for me. It takes about less than 30 minutes. I'll even go ahead and address the envelopes. Then I'll put a note on the calendar of like on, say, April 15th, I'm going to send the one for him to Equifax, and then like 2 months later, like April, May, June 15th, I'm going to send mine to Experian. So then all I have to do, I see that note on the calendar, all I have to do is pull that envelope out of the file, put a stamp on it, and put it in the mail. So then I'm not likely to forget about it or put it off because I don't have the time to deal with that right now. So that's what I personally do, but you do what you know, what's comfortable for you. But I just want you to be aware of that. This is the only truly free credit report. I don't hear as much about it now, but there was in the media quite a bit a few years ago about this freecreditreport.com. And what if you looked at the fine print on that, basically you were signing up for a service. Yeah, you got it free, the report, but yet you were signing up for the service with them. So that part of it was what they were getting you for. So this is a truly free one. That's the information you need to get that. But I think that's one of the best ways, the quickest ways to catch if something strange is going on. This is also a good way to just gather your information. And I'll watch my time here. Tell just another little story, because what you were talking about earlier reminded me of this. Back several years ago, in 2003, some of you may have been in the area when the tornadoes went through the Carl Junction area. After that, I was trying to figure out how I could help people. You have everything blown away. We talked about, you know, keeping your credit card information. You were talking about, you know, what happens when your credit card blows away? Or my information where I have it in my file blows away. And I don't know who may be picking it up down the road. So what can I do? How can I track this down? So this is before this free credit report information was out there. So I called, it was MasterCard I called.